At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 300 programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
I brought along my son Jonathan, who in the year 2001 will be the same age as I am now. Maybe he will be better adjusted to this kind of world that you're trying to portray.
The big difference when he grows up, in fact, if we wanted to wait for the year 2001, is that he will have in his own house, not a computer as big as this, but at least a console to which he can talk to his friendly local computer and get all the information he needs for his everyday life, like his bank statements, his theater reservations, all the information you need in the course of living in a complex modern society. This will be in a compact form in his own house. He'll have a television screen like these here and a keyboard, and he'll talk to the computer, get information from it, and he'll take it as much for granted as we take the telephone.
KFI AM 640 is Later with Mo Kelly. That was the voice of Arthur C. Clarke, my favorite science fiction writer ever. It was in 1974, and he was in the middle of an interview with ABC News. He was that sound that you heard in the background with the big cabinets of tapes running of what used to be computers. And he was talking to a young child, young by 1974 standards, older than me, who would live in a world one day in which computers could fit on the size of a desk, and we'd be able to talk to the computers and be able to do our banking and be able to communicate with each other.
Hey, that'll never happen.
Never. Or at least Arthur C. Clarke could foresee it in 1974. Here we are in 2025, and he couldn't have been more right. Marsha, Collier, it is great to see you, and I want to use that as a lead-in because as we talk about tech, it's nice to remember how far we've come.
Oh, it's amazing. It's just amazing how far we've come. I mean, I'm sure you're old enough to remember Windows 3.1.
Yes, I remember 3.1.
I remember returning Windows 1.0 to the store and said, why would I need this?
I just remember when I first saw Windows and I realized that, wait a minute, it looks a lot like my Apple IIc.
Yeah, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, they had some discussions about that, but that's a whole other show. I got something for you today, which blows me away. I've used a product from this company several years ago when I went to Alaska to Nowhere Land, north of the Arctic Circle. We were staying at a truck stop. The snow was 20 feet high. There were no connections. There was no running water.
This was a vacation.
I loved it. Yeah, seriously, it was the best adventure. The best adventure. Alaska in the winter. As long as you had the right clothes, not a problem. But I was very concerned about my internet. And I had an early version of this product. These people came out with a new product, and because of the fire, the Northridge earthquake was the worst thing that had ever happened to me. Now we had these horrible fires, which I think were even worse with the destruction. And you think about, you didn't have Wi-Fi. How could you connect? And we've talked about this, why people have landlines, because landlines are often the first to be reconnected.
Yes.
But now they're reconnecting the Wi-Fi and the cellular signals. But the cellular signals, it takes a while. So, found this product. I saw them at CES.
It's about the size of a phone.
It's exactly the size of, smaller than my phone. It's called the Solus Go. I'm showing it to Mo here. It's a small device. It's got 3 cables attached to it.
It looks like an external battery that you put on your phone, maybe.
Well, funny you should say that. Because it is a battery. It is a power bank, and we've talked about that. 8,000 milliamp hours.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That can do 2 phones.
Yeah,
full.
most phones are like 3.6 or so.
Right. So you don't have a problem if you're in a disaster, if you're in an earthquake, your phone has died, you can plug it in. It has 3 cables, USB-C, USB-A, and
Lightning?
yes.
Lightning cable for Apple?
I always call it Thunderbolt. I don't know.
We know what you mean.
It's just phones. It's an iPhone. But you have the 3 connectors. You can charge it easily on the side. Simple. And what it is a hotspot. Just like you could make your phone into a hotspot.
Right.
This is a power bank and a hotspot. You can put up to 10 people on this device.
In an emergency, I could be with a dead phone in a dead zone and be able to both charge my phone for at least 3 or 4 full charges, 10 devices on it if need be, and also have some sort of signal. I can't say Wi-Fi, but satellite signal?
No, it picks, they have deals. Right now, it's connected to AT&T.
Okay.
They have deals with the different companies. And just like an MVNO, like Consumer Cellular or Mint Mobile, they make deals with the
So does Google Fi.
Right, and Google Fi. And I don't know who they use. They usually don't talk about all that. But it can run 10 devices all at once, simultaneously going to the internet. It has virtual SIM technology if you need to use that on your phone.
That would be great in the event that, let's say you are home, you have the generator for the house, but that could be used for all your devices and communication needs in a given moment.
As long as there's a signal somewhere. And I am telling you, hand to God, folks, really, I was in the middle of nowhere. There were moose near me. That was it. And I could get a signal on this company's earlier device. This is called the Solis, SOLIS, Go.
How much are we talking about, ballpark?
About $100.
Okay, that's more than reasonable.
And guess what it comes with? 1 gig of data a month, free, for the rest of your life.
And you're not going to be using 1 gig of data except for those extreme emergencies, I assume.
This is an emergency device or a great travel device. I mean, you go to another country. There are some people who, honestly, the international plans when you travel can be ridiculous. The first thing you do see when you get off the plane in a foreign country is those kiosks to buy cards, SIM cards. Now, there are eSIMs now, but I would not use a foreign eSIM in my phone.
No.
I'm as a matter of fact.
That's part of the reason why I use Google Fi, because I can use it internationally.
Exactly. And I have a T-Mobile that comes with free international. And next week we'll be talking about the MVNOs and eSIMs versus regular SIMs. But anyway, it's difficult in some countries to get connections. And once you have this, you can be connected. I just think, aside from, think about it. Wi-Fi connectivity, it's called vSIM technology, whatever. Charge your phones around $100. I think, and the free data for life, free gigabyte per month.
I always think about devices in terms of reliability. Can I use this in a pinch? Can I depend on it? Will I know that it's going to be there if there are extenuating circumstances like a disaster or a personal emergency?
Like I told you, my husband and I can both testify. We have one of these. We have used it. We depended on it. There was no way else we were going to get a signal.
Because you only got one chance in an emergency.
In an emergency, especially.
So I got to know it's got to work.
Well, in the Northridge quake, we had nothing. So, but this will give you, put it in your go bag, keep it there, and always have it.
When we come back, let's talk about a little bit of T-Mobile and Starlink. Can you do that for me?
Oh, you betcha.
All right.
And that won't be free.
Well, you got that right. It's Later with Mo Kelly. Marsha Collier joins me in studio. KFI AM 640.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
It's easy, oh so easy. What's the easy way to get online? It's gotta be America Online. Easy.
I love hearing,
You've got mail. Free 24-hour customer service.
Everyone I know is on AOL.
Easy.
my favorite feature on AOL is instant messages.
I feel real secure with AOL.
Easy.
With parental controls, I feel better about my kids being online.
AOL's easy.
So easy to use? No wonder it's number one. Call 1-800-4online.
It's not number one anymore.
Yeah.
KFI AM 640. It's later with Mo Kelly. We all remember AOL, don't we?
What's totally scary is I know people who still have an @AOL.com.
You mean like my mother?
Address. Oh, really?
Yeah.
My dad?
Hot chick. Was that your mom, hot chick at AOL?
No. No, that wasn't her, but she still uses AOL and I can't break her up. What were you going to say, Stefan?
And some people have an AOL account. I was like, yeah, like my dad.
It is a generational thing.
For sure.
Oh, gosh.
Maybe they were first introduced to the internet and email.
Well, so was I, but
but sure, this is your bread and butter. This is your lifestyle. This is your career in many respects.
And anybody I see who still has an AOL email address, please do yourself a favor. Gmail is free. Get a Gmail account and don't put a silly name at the beginning. Try and use a format of your name.
Look, it makes sense to you and me. It may even be common sense. I just know a lot of people that I still deal with have an AOL email address.
And there's a perception problem. There's a perception.
Oh, absolutely. I'm very judgmental if I see an AOL address. It's like you deserve some sort of Nigerian scammer to come get you using an AOL email address.
Well,
how dare you?
How about if you had a Starlink email address?
Starlink, I don't think I've met anyone with a Starlink email address.
I don't think you have. Well,
I don't know.
I don't know because I don't have Starlink. But if that's your internet provider, maybe
it would make sense. They'd probably have something.
That would be kind of cool.
But since you mentioned Starlink, we have a story to talk about with them.
Funny how that happens. In July, T-Mobile is going to launch commercial service for Starlink satellite phone service. It's going to be free for T-Mobile customers on the Go 5G Next plan and available for other customers for a monthly fee. And we'll talk about that because no matter who your provider is, you can buy satellite connection for your phone.
Let me ask you this, because we've seen satellite phones depicted in movies, and it was usually reserved for military or very, very wealthy people. Why do you think, other than just greed, traditional providers have not more quickly moved to offering satellite service?
I think it's very expensive. I mean, let's face it. Elon, in my humble opinion, yet they used launching those satellites as lessons learned. They learned so much from putting those satellites in orbit and the communications between satellite to satellite, bouncing to Earth, bouncing back. I mean, and to make it mobile for people's mobile homes and things like that. Yeah, I think you can't say there. You said this week that there are failed technologies which we never saw again, but that's not true. A lot of times those technologies are adopted into new technologies and are made even better. And that's why everything, when it comes to technology and science, even the smallest discovery can be a big win when it becomes part of something bigger. But let me just tell you about this. If you'd like to try the Starlink service, the beta phase is free to T-Mobile customers, AT&T, and Verizon customers. Anybody can use it, probably Google Fi. It's a beta. Now you get it free through July 1st, or the month, and until they start charging money for it. And if you want to go to sign up for it, you'll have to replay the podcast if you don't get it first. Go to www.t-mobile.com/coverage /satellite-phone-service # or number sign -- -up -beta -form.
That will be in the podcast because I know you didn't get that the first time.
You're going to repeat that a couple times. Anyone on any carrier, no matter who your carrier is, you can sign up to join the beta test and get satellite-powered messaging at no cost until July. And you're right. It's kind of like a big, it's kind of cool, I guess.
How would you say, let's say, I mean, with the exception of the people who obviously live in more rural areas or more out of the way areas, what would be some of the benefits of satellite coverage other than just knowing that wherever you are in the world, you're covered?
That's it.
Okay.
Well, because, for example, one of our listeners had emailed me, and she had a daughter who goes hiking, and they wanted to stay in touch, and there was no signal out there. I turned her on to Google Fi, and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is a signal for almost everyone in cities. It's the parts of the world, and it really is sad. And by the way, talking early about the Solis Go, that's 4G LTE. Why is it not 5G? Because half of the world, I mean, that thing works in like 120 countries. When it comes to internet connections, there are some companies just getting off of 3G. You've got to realize not everybody is technologically advanced as our country, England and Europe. You know, there's a whole world out there.
In the way we have first world and second and third world, we have the same as far as technology goes. Yeah.
Exactly. So for international travel, a 4G, which is backwardly compatible from 5G, will be the best choice for you. If you have a 5G, and there's no 5G signal, not going to happen.
Yeah, most of the phones now, I think, will drop to 4G, though.
They will. Yeah. They will. I noticed it happened.
Not all, but most.
Happened sitting right out there. I said, I have LTE. What happened?
Right, what happened? And LTE used to be, the thing.
But anyway, it uses existing 1900 megahertz cellular frequency bands, which is LTE band 25, and 4G transmission standards. Initially, it'll be just text messages and location information. So, if you fall down a mountain, you can use it. Eventually, it will include voice calls, text and images, and data support for some applications. For T-Mobile customers not on the plan, $15 a month after the beta ends. AT&T and Verizon customers, $20 a month after the free beta ends. And early adopters, $10 a month during the beta.
But this could be game changing, especially if you live in a more remote area.
Exactly. We live in a city. I was in Texas. I was in Midland, Texas. Talk about Billy Bob Thornton. And there's a signal.
I'm sorry. Landman was one of my favorite series.
I'm telling you, it was so accurate because I have been to Midland. My husband is from Midland. I know Midland.
Mm-hmm.
That they to a T, and they
got it right.
I hope the world understands the people of Midland. That I heard people talk about, how little money they must make. Are you kidding me? Someone who was in Dale position. In Dale, he's the guy third guy who lives in the house, not the lawyer. He's making $200 and something $1,000.
Yeah, he was just one of the guys on the line, I'll call it.
Yeah, and Billy Bob Thornton, until he got moved to president, he was making over $375,000.
But a lot of stress and danger.
Danger is the name for a lot of people. They thrive on it.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a air traffic controller when I was a kid. I just didn't know where to go.
Thanks to the internet now, you know how to do it. It's not too late.
It's too late.
Okay.
I don't think my heart could take it anymore.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation to have. Marsha Collier, it's always great to see you. Thank you for all your tech wisdom and insight.
Well, we're going to have fun next week.
Yeah, don't turn us down next week.
Well, I promise not.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And this is a really good time of the year for me because it's the beginning of spring training. I've been a Dodger fan for as long as I can remember, probably longer than I've been a Laker fan. And the best part of Dodger baseball if let's say you're a younger listener right now and you thought, well, Dodger baseball or baseball in general, it moves too slow for me. It doesn't seem like something I want to watch, because everything has to be fast paced. To best appreciate baseball, especially Dodger baseball, you got to go to the park. You got to go to Dodger Stadium. You have to feel the crowd around you. You have to see all the moving parts of the field. You have to see the signs from the first or third base coach to the runner. You have to see all the shifts in the outfield. Then you'll have a greater appreciation of how the sport works. And of course, just being around 50,000 other fans makes it even more enjoyable. But this is a particularly special season for the Dodgers. Of course, they are getting ready to begin their title defense after winning the World Series, but they're going to start the actual season in Japan, Tokyo, on March 18th. In fact, there will be 2 spring training games against Japanese league teams. March 15th, it'll be the Yomiuri Giants, and then March 16th, the Hanshin Tigers. So you can tell how the Japan League and also Major League Baseball, they are working in concert and closer than ever before. The influx of Asian players, not just Japanese, but also Korean players on the Dodgers and other teams in Major League Baseball. It's truly making this an international sport in ways that it had really never been. Now, you had some Japanese players, you had some Korean players, like the Dodgers. Of course, they had Chan-Ho Park and Hyunjin Ryu and other players. Hideo Nomo going back many years. And I even have a Hideo Nomo jersey still at home. But now you have Japanese and Korean players specifically all around Major League Baseball on a number of teams, not just a team or a player here and there. And I think that is great for the sport because it's growing the sport. I remember growing up as a kid, baseball had a huge explosion, but it had waned in the most recent years. People were not watching the sport. More importantly, youngsters were not playing the sport. African Americans specifically were not playing baseball. We had gravitated to basketball and football. And if you looked at baseball, you didn't see a lot of black players because we were playing different sports. That is starting to change. And I think part of that is baseball is doing a much better job of marketing the sport around the world, going into different cities and creating parks and places for people to play. And that has helped. And that, I think, has changed the perception of the sport. But just from a fan perspective, there's nothing better than going to Dodger Stadium. And I know Mark is not a sports fan, but he probably covered some Seattle Mariner games here or there once upon a time, didn't you?
No, well, no, but listen, Wrigley Field is great fun to hang out in, whether or not you're a giant baseball fan. I mean, I like a day of baseball. And if you think baseball is boring, you don't understand baseball.
You don't, but you put it this way. You enjoyed it much more being in the park, didn't you? Being at Wrigley Field.
Absolutely. But circling back here, if you saying baseball's boring is like saying golf is boring. It conveys no information that's useful. And it displays just a complete lack of understanding about why people go.
The same is true of soccer, and that's another sport which is better understood, enjoyed, and experienced when you're actually in the environment. The crowd is part of it. The subtleties that you just can't pick up on TV. Even hockey. I love hockey, but I don't love watching it on TV. I would rather be at a hockey game.
Well, the thing about soccer is that I have seen live soccer matches here in the United States and abroad in England, and you understand the instant you go to a live one why they have violent hooliganism and alcoholism, because those games get you so keyed up back and forth and hardly anybody ever scores. You want to take it out on somebody after you're out of there, and it's hard to convey that on TV, but it really comes across in person.
Our sports fandom has nothing on Europe. Nothing. It's not close. When I was vacationing in Spain, Barcelona, and we went to an FCB game in Barcelona, it's an experience which is hard to even convey. The fans were ready to kill each other. Literally. their fandom is just on a different level. Yeah, we have crazy fans in cities like Philadelphia or New York, even to a degree in LA, but it's not the same.
Well, at least it's over something that matters.
They live and die by their team.
Live and die. And it's, even though we may get upset and we may have fights in the stands, it's still not close.
Not even close.
The smack talk they yell at the players is hugely entertaining if you're there in the stands.
And sometimes it's creative. Sometimes it's racist. Sometimes it's very witty. But it is far more passionate.
Because there's even, I think there's even places that will shut down so that people can watch the games.
Well, in Barcelona, they do shut down. Like everyone is on siesta. Everything is shut down because the game is happening. We're not like that here. We don't take it that seriously. That's part of the reason. I know I'm digressing, but that's part of the reason why America has never been all that good in soccer/football, because we're not dedicated to it. The best athletes here in America are not pursuing soccer. If you had LeBron James and the Michael Jordans and I don't know, Bryce Harpers, or the best athletes in America pursuing soccer as opposed to football or basketball or even baseball, then yeah, we would be on the level of other countries around the world, but we're not.
It'll happen sooner or later. It's just a chicken and egg matter of bringing the money to it.
Right. And the money's not there yet. And so until the money gets there, it has helped, because you do have like major the major soccer leagues here now. You know, you have a number of cities with professional clubs to help grow talent around the country. But it still needs to be a lot more money to get kids to start thinking about that long term in the way they think about baseball, going back to the Dodgers, or even basketball and the Lakers.
Yeah, and baseball is far more just archetypally an American thing than soccer, a.k.a. football.
Now, where have you gone other than Wrigley Field as far as parks that you've experienced?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been to a game here, though, in the 6 years I've lived here. And I need to do that.
I've been to Baltimore's Camden Yards. That's a really good park to see a ball game.
Oh, I bet.
Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City was a really good one as far as fan-friendly experience. But I have to say, after Dodger Stadium, Camden Yards is probably the best park that I've ever been.
The all day, all night commitment to go to a Dodgers game terrifies me here. You can't just go. I mean, you've got to drive there, park, and endure the traffic there and back. You have to decide that that's how you want to spend your whole day and night.
Here's something I used to do when I was going to the Dodger games regularly. I would take the bus from the Gardena bus station, the Metro Transit Center, because they had a free Silver Line bus which was going to and from Dodger games. It was super convenient, and it was super free.
I'm going to wait till one of Tuala's air taxis is available, and then I can just get plopped right down in the middle of everything conveniently.
But it's the thing, you have to show your Dodger ticket, so it's not like just anybody can get on the bus. It was a much safer environment in that regard, and it was really convenient. They pick you up right after the game, or even before the game ends, right outside the stadium, and it's a really easy way to go to and from Dodger Stadium if Metro Transit Center is close to where you live.
It goes that close?
Yes.
That's actually pretty cool.
Well, I've done it a few times. Yes.
That is pretty cool.
This is the most important question, and I hope you take it as seriously as this merits. What are the Dodger drunks like compared to, say, the Chicago drunks?
They're
the ones in the bleachers.
I don't do bleachers anymore.
What? Oh,
no.
I see.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
No. I will pay money for a decent ticket. I am not sitting in the bleachers. I refuse. Call me elitist.
Oh, no, I forgot who I was talking to.
No. It's for that reason.
Yeah.
Because when the drinks are really flowing, the idiocy starts coming out. No.
If you're in the wrong, talk about the football. If you're in the wrong spot when the drinks start going heavy, you're going to get hurt.
It's one of those things where I don't know why people wear the opposing team's jersey to Dodger Stadium. I just don't get that, because you're just asking for trouble.
Okay, so not very benign drunks like you would get in some other cities.
No. Not Dodger Stadium. You haven't been here all that long, but Dodger Stadium is notorious. They've had people killed.
Not in a huge rush then.
Yeah, just don't sit in the bleachers.
Unless I can sit in your fancy skybox with you.
Or go to a day game.
I go to day games, and I try to sit behind home plate. If you're going to spend money, spend the money. It's the best experience. If you're going to go all the way. Go first class. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640, live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. When animals attack, when we come back.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Animals the world over have had enough of humans. Hornets are attacking in China. Sharks are swallowing up surfers in Florida. Lions and tigers are eating interns, oh my! And bears are pouncing on women in the Pacific Northwest. Unless we put a stop to the mistreatment of animals, they can, they will, they shall attack.
KFI Mo Kelly live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. 55-year-old Canadian woman was on a trip to the Turks and Caicos Islands with her husband. And according to family reports, they were living what only can be described as a nightmare. That's their brother-in-law who had to say this. There's now a fundraiser for the couple because the woman involved had both hands bitten off by a bull shark. The story says she tried to take a picture of the shark. The family says the woman was minding her own business. Somebody is lying. This is what the brother-in-law of the woman, the victim, quote-unquote victim, had to say. Quote, after leaving the beach to join her husband in only hip-deep water, clear water, a 7-foot bull shark came at my sister-in-law and bumped into her legs, saying that the shark was the aggressor. The shark then circled around and bit her thigh. Not satisfied, now he's testifying for the shark. Not satisfied, the shark came back again, and when she put both her hands in front of her to protect herself, the shark cut off both of her hands, one at mid-forearm and the other at the wrist. So the shark got more than a mouthful. That's just my editorializing. A statement from the Turks and Caicos Islands Environment Department later said that their investigation had determined that, quote, the tourists had attempted to engage with the shark from the shallows in an attempt to take photographs. Close quote. I'm more inclined to believe the Turks and Caicos Islands Environment Department, which conducted an actual investigation, as opposed to the brother-in-law, who we're not even clear was actually there to witness any of this.
Was the brother sober? Who knows?
Who knows?
We should always believe the sharks. Believe the sharks first. You are in the sharks' environment. You are in their home. The sharks obviously did not want to take pictures. The shark obviously gave her a warning with the leg bite. Get your behind out of my living room. I am trying to eat. She aggressed further. She said, come on over here, shark. I just want a picture before I leave. The shark, being a shark, said, I don't know how else to communicate this besides,
and took both her hands. All I know is, if the woman was concerned, because according to this, the shark bit her on her thigh before taking both of her hands. You're telling me, brother-in-law, that the shark bit her on her thigh and she made no attempt to get out of the water. You already said the water is only hip deep, okay? After the shark bites you, there's nothing to wait around for. The shark, quote-unquote, attack has already begun. Why would you be putting your hands out in front of you with a phone?
When you do that to a shark thinks that you're saying, here, have these. Not go away. It's like, here, have some hands.
It's like if a dog bit you, would you go back and try to pet it again? No.
And you wouldn't extend your arms. No. You would try to leave the area of the shark, especially because it's an aggressive shark. According to you, in your own lie of a story, you said the shark already bit you. What are you waiting for? That's the time where you start running and screaming and help and whatever. But you get out of the water. It's hip deep. You don't even have to swim to the shore. You leave the water. I tend to believe the investigation and other witnesses because the investigation probably got the accounts of other people who were there at the scene. Mm-hmm. She was trying to take a picture or a selfie with the bull shark, and the bull shark said, that's some bull. That is not going to happen. And the shark went shark.
Every time you say bull shark, there's a manager out there wondering, like, oh God, is the FCC going to get involved in this bull shark?
You got that right.
Yeah.
You got that, huh? Yeah.
The shark was sharking.
I don't have any sympathy for someone who went in the water and then wanted to get a selfie or even just a straight up photo with a bull shark.
Not only that, sharks don't really, when they're in shallow water, they don't really come at you fast. This water was clear enough for them to see the shark. The shark didn't sneak up like some type of shark ninja, like, shh, they're not going to see me. No, the shark was swimming. I promise you. You see anything in the water 7 feet coming to you, there's no need to be in the water anymore for it to even get the first bite.
No.
That logic doesn't make sense.
Sharks are on kind of a short list of animals notoriously impatient with selfies. You could include grizzly bears on that list.
Bison. Bison don't
certainly.
like the selfie.
Moose.
Moose. Nope.
Certainly bulls.
As
well as bull sharks.
They don't tend to pose for pictures. That's not their thing.
No.
And if you should happen to lose a hand or both
or two,
that's on you. That is on you. Okay. And when I put my hands out, they're like shoulder width apart. They're not like right together. That says to me you're trying to take a picture because you're using both hands on the phone. Yeah. On the phone, not trying to protect yourself. Score 1, or actually 2 for the shark. Wow. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
Indifference Therapy. KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.